Do you think calling someone bald is sexual harassment? I saw that article. No, I don't think it is. It can be bullying. It's mean. But it's not fucking sexual harassment. What are you talking about? Is the head a sexual organ? Like, what? I shouldn't have asked that question. Anyway, I should read the article though. We'll find out exactly what happened. It might be like a bad headline. Go riot. Hassan drops bad take about Roe v. Wade. Oh no, did he have bad abortion takes? Uh-oh. It's okay. Not my job. This is a Hunter video. But we're doing John Doyle. Fucking John Doyle debated Hunter Avallone. That's weird. I didn't know John Doyle did like debates. I'm pretty sure Vosh was going to debate him, but then he busted out. But we'll see what happens. John Doyle is fucking crazy though. Like he's really dumb. But let's find out.
Not just that, again, it's that by having diversity, you avoid this idea of groupthink. You break away from groupthink, and you are able to innovate faster. Why is it?
Groupthink is good.
But, okay, no, it's not. That literally weakens the military.
Let's go point by point. No, it doesn't. Let's go point by point then. I want to talk about the
John Doyle literally will like make up studies though. Or he will cite something on his screen for like half a second and say something completely different to what's actually even on the title that he's linking. He's like, he doesn't give a fuck. But anyway.
Versus Africa thing.
No, we're not going to talk. This has nothing to do with the actual military thing. I know that. No. I know you got to get back to your script. I understand that you have to get back to your script. Okay, but hold on. We're actually talking now.
Nobody watching this actually thinks that your brain's operating at a higher level. I mean, I'm thinking.
I haven't been able to say a word, my dude. You've literally been just talking nonstop, and the non-biased mod isn't even helping at all. So this is exactly why, by the way.
Hunter, oh no! Don't attack the mod. Never attack the mod. Oh no. Oh shit.
Okay. I don't know if we're gonna get anywhere with that. I did want to bring in another guest, Olivia. You want to go ahead and put them both on?
Well, wait. Who are you ambushing me with? Because we're not even done with our discussion yet. Andrew. Hey, John, what's up?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We
John
are
Doyle.
Entertainment, here to discuss diversity, here to discuss the military.
Nice.
Hunter, how are we doing?
John Doyle is such a fucking weirdo. Oh, God. The ambush, I know. He thinks he's doing a Sam Cedar. No.
Good. Why? We took so long to get this set up. I'm happy to see you, John. How you doing, man?
It is true. I'm doing pretty well. You know, I don't want to stand on ceremony with this sort of performative fraternity, Hunter. You know, you had some very abrasive things to say about me in your video, which admittedly I didn't watch. Admittedly, I also didn't rewatch my video in preparation for this because, of course, I wanted to give you the biggest advantage possible. So you're going to have to refresh me a little bit on your critiques as we go along here. But yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah,
I did no preparation. Okay. Nice.
The main critique that I had was just you seem to be very much against this idea of diversity in the military, and that's just not true. Like I thought that was quite delusional, to be honest, because virtually every single study we have, whether it's of a private business or of the military directly, we can see that diversity contributes to a significant amount of innovation.
Right. So for those watching.
Is he going to do the Mark Collette fucking take that, like, black people can't innovate? Is that what he's going to say?
People of Hunter's kin like to do this thing with studies where they basically use them like Pokemon cards. So Hunter is going to take
No, wait, that's what he does. That's what John Doyle does in his videos. He will blast fucking, like, headlines of studies and just draw a completely opposite conclusion.
Studies, and he's going to say, look at this study, it says this thing, blam, and it's like his argument is the title of the study. You know, he doesn't believe that people, like as we saw with what Andrew was saying, can experience things, can infer data, can use their inductive reasoning, things like that. So that's why, you know, it's always studies and data. So, you know, people like Hunter also, it's not a coincidence that they're so obsessed with things like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? Like they conceptualize diversity.
Hold on,
wait, not you.
Is this actually your argument right now? Is the idea of shitting on data and factual information because you think that feelings outweigh facts? Is that it? I never said. Hold on.
No, if you would listen to my argument, I know this isn't one of your reaction streams where you're going to pause what I'm saying and have your little clip.
Well, this isn't one of your videos where you can just make up a bunch of lies about what I think.
Let's just go one
let
at
me
a
just
time.
finish my opening monologue here. My point was going to be that people of Hunter's coalition, maybe not him necessarily, since we want to get specific here, they can only
specific of talking to the person that's we're in a conversation with. Okay, good.
conceptualize diversity like a team of superheroes, right? Or like the what was that Pixar movie, Inside Out, where you've got like this guy with this strength, and then this guy is really good at this thing, and they all come together, and then they beat the bad guy. That's not actually how it works. And you know what it comes down to, basically in brass text, is that anything the military is doing besides focusing on destroying enemies and their resources and securing our borders is by definition operating at a less efficient way than it should be. And so the whole idea behind diverse identities, as Hunter articulated, is this idea that like, oh, well, you know, if you've got the white guy, he's going to have this way of looking at it. If you have the black guy, he's going to have this way of looking at it. And when they all come together, you know, they can sort of figure out the best way possible because you have all these different perspectives. And it sounds nice, but when you really like think about what that means, I mean, you're telling me that like, oh, we have more diversity because now we have gay people. Like, what defines gay people other than a fixation on anal sex? So you're like arguing to me literally that.
So. And also, there's
but
studies,
that's what it is. It's a fixation on anal sex. Hunter, you gotta stop. You gotta stop.
How long is your opening monologue going to be, dude? This isn't one of your videos where you just get to just go on a tangent.
I know the big idea so scared the tiny mind.
I know. Yes, your feelings. They're very scary. Please finish up so we can start talking.
It's not 2016. See, this is your problem, Hunter. You never quite left 2016.
And
but we
back
continue.
To you just telling me a story.
God, John Doyle he's really weird, isn't he? Jesus, like. So. Yeah, I think he's trying the thing where you like. I think the best thing you can do is if you're someone like John Doyle is you do just make up shit. Like you just have to try and be inflammatory because he's trying to trigger. Like that's what he thinks he's doing with the anal sex thing. At that point, once he's said that, you just cut him off. You just say, "Why are you thinking about anal sex? What like loads of gay people don't even have anal sex. Like." Why are you obsessed with anal sex? Like, why is that the first thing you think of when you think of gay people? Like, what? John, if you see two gay children holding hands, do you picture them fucking? Like, why are you doing that? Fucking weirdo.
Sorry.
Yeah, I would just derail. There's no point. Just ask him why he's thinking about anal sex. That's it.
Okay.
What we're trying to do here,
I know that you have a mod on your side, but like, are you ever going to let me respond? Hey, Andrew, you're ever going to let me respond?
I know. See, this was the problem. I wanted to set up a debate between you guys. Hunter refused, and then he
did not refuse. I said that I wanted a. Hold on, wait.
No, you said
I don't care if I got to go against
him.
both of you guys, but I will say I said that I wanted a non-biased moderator, and it's already.
And have I said no? How have I said anything? I haven't said anything. I haven't said anything. No.
If I could just comment on the structure of the debate. Typically, the way these actual debates, as opposed to, internet blood sports go, is, one side will speak for 5-10 minutes, the other side will speak for 5-10 minutes. There's questions, etc. That's kind of the impression under which I was operating. So I'd like to be able to speak for a few minutes uninterrupted.
I just wanted to interject with the fact that I haven't said anything, and he's saying there's a debate on a moderator on your side, and this is why he refused to come on. But I'm perfectly able to sit here, as I've shown, and not say anything and let you guys talk.
Hunter needs to up his gain, though. That's what we need now. Fuck.
Let's go back to both of them.
Right now.
Because you just made a claim that I'm.
Can I respond to anything that John said, or is he literally going to sit?
Yeah, you will have ample time. You just got to be patient.
Wait. Are we going to do a 5-minute thing? Because I'm not doing that.
That'd be great. Can you speak for 5 minutes extemporaneously? Are you afraid of that?
No, it's not that I'm afraid of it. It's that a real debate is you say something, then I ask a question, then we kind of build upon that and have more of a conversation, not just you get to rant in your camera for 5 minutes.
I didn't even go to college, Hunter. I know the collegiate level debate. There's the first affirmative. There's the first rebuttal. I mean,
nice. You don't understand that debate is supposed to be a serious exchange of long-winded paragraphs. Of long-winded statements. I'm going to talk about how gay people are obsessed with anal sex. So you should take me seriously like they do in the Oxford Union. Oh, God. Yeah, fucking hell. After, look at the pinned comment. Okay, yeah. Here's a relevant John Doyle meme. Today's left has made everyone obsessed with sex. It didn't used to be this way. I have never had sex. My wife has never had sex, and I certainly am raising my children to never have sex either. Okay, nice.
It goes in blocks.
Wait, what the fuck? Excuse me.
So I'm going to continue with what I was trying to say here. Well, it is. You know, I would like to think that we can operate at that level. You know, I have a great amount of
I
respect for
can't
you,
believe
believe it
that
or
your
not.
version of a debate, you're so scared to
You
actually
gotta
just
stop.
talk back and forth. Are you afraid of my soy
You're
face?
the one not letting me talk. My brother in Christ. You gotta stop. I'm gonna just
My
continue.
brother in Christ,
Anyway,
you won't shut the
the
fuck up.
idea, the idea. You're so tough, dude. Like
I
I don't
never
understand
agreed
whole
to
tough
this. You're literally just ambushing me and then saying, oh, it's a formal debate now, so you have to be quiet for 5
It
minutes.
is.
Let's
It is
actually talk
real.
about it.
Yeah.
Why do you think that diversity does not benefit the military? What's your evidence of this?
See, I was going to continue. Anyways, the idea that diversity does inherently benefit the military, like in that video in particular, I think I was mainly talking about diversity in terms of sex and in terms of sexuality. So, like, literally, if you're going to argue that diversity in terms of sexuality benefits the military, what you're saying is that people whose identities center around anal sex and genital mutilation have something to offer to the military. Like, they could read something written by von Clausewitz or something written by Sun Tzu, and they could actually amend that text and have a better idea of how to conquer enemies and defend borders than these people. And this kind of gets into the other thing. Well, even if not in terms of strategic innovation, in terms of technological innovation, you know, they have something to offer there because he mentioned as well on the battlefield, only 10% of people are going to see combat, right? Now, in my opinion, that's more of an argument against the fact that the military has basically become a jobs program, less against the fact that, you know, it's not actually going to have a lot of people on the battlefield, but you've got the innovation at least.
Wait, military has been like that for a long time though. Yeah, you have a lot of fucking jobs in the military besides being in combat. Like, people have to be in the rear with the gear and all that shit. And you've got to have people like, yeah, you need like strategy. What? You'd like people who are in the back line, like reinforcement and fucking medics, like fucking food. Like, you need people cooking and shit. Like, yeah, you need a lot going on. Fuck. In the rear with the gear. Yeah, well, that's why, yeah, John Doyle doesn't care about logistics, though. He just wants everyone to go in like some fucking dumbass, like Roman pincer formation. I don't know.
It's not the combat aspect. The thing with that, though, is if you say you're going to have 1 million people that can be in the military, just to use that number, if you're going to just stock it with people, for diversity's sake, you're going to want to stock it with the most people who are the most likely to innovate. Because obviously, you know, I'm less innovative than the woman that he mentioned who created that technology. But on average, I think that's what's important to look at. And if you look at virtually 95%, which is an actual figure, 95% of the innovation, both scientific and technological, that took place on this planet between, I think, 800 BC and 1950 AD was done by European men. I don't know why that is.
That's not the relevance. The fact of the matter is that
no, it is.
Hold on, wait. Are you serious right now? You're actually just going to do I'm going to hang up and leave, okay? If you don't let me actually talk and respond to some of this bullshit.
I'm almost done. I promise.
Why are you just talking? You think this is one of your videos right now?
He's like he's surprisingly soy for someone who likes to where the fuck this is an actual figure, unlike all my fucking fake figures. Where did he get that from? What, from 800 BC to 1950s, 95%. Inventions, white people. Let's see. Is this from Wikipedia? It looks like it's a Wikipedia thing. Oh. Is it by who I think it is? Human accomplishment, the pursuit of excellence in arts and science. Why, it says Murray. Could it be that Murray? Charles Murray. Oh no, it's Mr. Bell Curve. Oh God. It's Charles Murray. Nice. Okay. Got him.
You've made like 50 claims. I'm not going to be able to respond to all of them. You're trying to gish gallop me, John. You're trying to gish gallop me. Yeah. You're so mad right now because you don't like the idea of having a conversation. You're used to just sitting down and saying, heck off, commie.
Yeah, where's the thing? Is it 11? Where's footnote 11? It's the citation for Sir Isaac Newton inventing the telescope. What a fucking weirdo. Who would do... Oh no. Okay. Yeah. I'm pretty sure you would also say that because of the Industrial Revolution and the time that that happened, then like even then a disproportionate amount of it would be from Britain, right? From like Anglos. So what's he saying there? Does he think also like Anglo people are like superior to fucking Germans and French and like Dutch people and shit? Yeah, that's a sussy wussy fucking Wikipedia entry there. I wonder if there are any responses to that book. Despite. Why did that double? The fuck? Thanks, Cholera Ant, for the Prime sub. I really appreciate that. China had an industrial revolution in the 14th century, if I remember right. Wars destroyed it. Yeah, and like the agricultural revolution was in the Middle East and in Africa like 6,000 years before it reached fucking like England. What would you say there? Would you say that they were genetically more advanced at that point? Let's see here. This is an essay talking about it. Ageofthegreek.org. Okay. The hashtag white inventions on Monday morning, July 2016, resulted in this graph being posted. After a little sleuthing, I discovered the source, a book called Human Accomplishment by Charles Murray. Political scientist, Harvard University. This does not, however, make him a scientist in terms of biology or technology. In 2003, his book, Human Accomplishment, The Pursuit of Excellence in the Arts and Sciences, is supposedly the ranking of well-known scientists and artists, field that Murray is not considered an expert in. Murray had previously argued that there were genetic reasons African Americans possess significantly lower average IQs than white or Asians. In the bell curve, according to Julian Coman of The Telegraph, the methodology of human accomplishment is disarmingly simple. For 5 years, he buried himself in the 167 encyclopedias from around the world, adding up the column inches accorded by experts to the most significant scientists and artists throughout history, stopping the count at 1850. He just looked through and said, oh God. Other critics have pointed out that his methodology was more simplistic. Writing for the New York Times, Judith Schlubitz wrote, in his new book, Murray has identified the 4,002 best scientists and artists known to encyclopedia editors, rating these great men and occasionally women according to how many column inches the editors have chosen to devote to each of them. No announce in the Discord for stream. Oh yeah, shit, sorry. 1 second. Totally didn't forget to announce. Okay. Rating according to how many column inches the editors have chosen to devote to each of them. What the fuck? As for the problem of bias against non-European contributors to the science, although he hasn't used any encyclopedias published in the Far or Middle East or in the languages of those parts in the world, he is compensated by using the most authoritative reference work available, the 18-volume Dictionary of Scientific Biography, which includes experts in Arabic, Indian, and East Asian science drawn from universities around the world. Further, she notes, his claim is simply that if some non-Western discovery or achievement isn't included in his sources, then we don't have to worry about it. Okay. Moreover, he excludes from his book any work of art or invention not attributed to a single individual, thereby helping to ensure that the cultures that most privilege autonomy and individualism, that is to say Western cultures, would rise to the top of his lists. 0x55 with a gifted sub, they're continuing. Thanks very much. This method probably also underestimates the strength of contemporary scientific achievements, often the result of teamwork, which may help explain Murray's theory of decline. Yeah, because we credit like grants and like things like that now. Okay. Yeah, that often result from migrants. Yeah, and from like women as well. Like so, like a lot of the progress that NASA makes now comes down to is like from women, right? William R. Thomas, writing for the Atlas Society, noted, for someone at pains to avoid the appearance of bias, Murray appears to have done little to access non-Western sources. For example, the sources for the Western literary inventory includes 3 US sources, 1 Italian, 1 Brazilian, 1 Spanish, and 3 German. Where are Russian or Polish scholars, the Japanese, or the French for that matter? There would be more thorough surveys of Western literature available from at least some of those centuries. Murray's sources in effect, appear to heavily reflect US and German views, and he isn't in a position to test thoroughly for consistency given the limit of his pool of sources. Wow. Thomas further states, Murray relies almost entirely on materials in Roman alphabet languages, leaving translations as his only means, with a few exceptions, of using non-Western histories and compendia. The exceptions are in Japanese, where with the help of a Japanese graduate student, Murray was able to include some art sources. Oh God, he just asked a Japanese grad student to throw the Japanese in. Fuck. Some English sources were ignored. It also happens that there is in English a well-regarded compendium of Chinese science and technology. However, Murray claims that this work could not be included among his sources without admitting compendia focused on individual European countries, such as Germany. Doing this would inflate the German numbers at least as much as the Chinese. These are, Thomas feels, especially problematic because while Murray is right to insist on uniform standards of measurement across sources, but the lack of attention to non-Western sources is a series of serious shortcoming for a book that makes universal claims about human history. So he basically only used Western sources and even ignored some from within. Fuck. This book doesn't exclusively vindicate white supremacy. Jews were not in Europe or in the US considered white or at least white enough, and this book includes much space to the disproportionately high rates of exceptional achievement among modern Jews, as he does to the disproportionately low rates among women and non-Westerners, rates that appear to persist even into the present. That means the statistics do not only reflect the achievements of whites, but also of Jews. Okay. The tactic of excluding Chinese sources also all means Murray excluded research about the people who wrote the first encyclopedias, and the Chinese make up 1/5 of the world population. He also excluded other resources from Asia, which is about 60% of the population. Wow. That's a considerable number of people, and that means doesn't even try. I guess I doesn't miss that word here, right? It should be he doesn't try. And that means he doesn't even try to be thorough on the histories of African nations. One must also consider the dates. Why 800 BC? It was the beginning of the Iron Age in Central Europe. It is also after the time of Mesopotamia, one of the so-called cradles of Western civilization, which is located in West Asia. It is after the time of Nefertiti, Tutankhamun, and Ramesses II. Oh no. John Doyle. This is actually surprisingly quick for debunking. Why end in 1950 before the race to be the first in space and to put the first person on the moon, and before the civil rights movement and the women's movement helped level the playing and working? Yeah. Fuck. Yeah, like choosing 800 BC to 1950 when women and fucking black people and shit were denied education and shit. Why would you do that? What an absolute dipshit. Before any of the African colonies had independence. Murray isn't an expert in science or the arts. Reviewers found his research flawed, making his conclusions incomplete. Yet, as #White Inventors tweets indicate, he has provided fuel for those who want to insist on the genetic superiority of white people. Okay. Make America 800 BC again. Okay.
LOL. You're
Real?
breaking from your script.
Real?
I know. You're really scared right now.
Real?
So again, when
You're the one who's afraid to talk for 5 minutes.
I'm not afraid to talk for 5 minutes. I'm actually interested in talking to you, not just talking that you talk that I talk.
Let me just get a couple more little bullet points out here.
How many bullet points are you going to get out till I get to actually respond to?
Well, this is how debates work, dude.
This is not how a debate works. This is not how a debate works, my dude. Why don't we actually talk? So the idea that,
like, oh, we have this one anecdote. We have this one anecdote of this woman who invented this particular piece of technology, this minority who invented this particular piece of technology. In a vacuum, if you were to keep pumping the military with, say, European men, which is traditionally the founding stock of our military, eventually they would have come up with that technology. That's just a fact. Eventually they would have, because we can infer that from the fact that
if either of them would have come up with the technology, then what's wrong with diversity? If black people and if ethnic minorities and women can do it too, clearly, given that they contribute a lot more now that they've actually got access to education. Okay, well.
invented like virtually everything else. So
do you think that has anything to do with the fact that oftentimes like white people were dominating the country? So like, for example, you could say like, hey, black people didn't.
We're good at innovating stuff.
Well, no,
excuse me, can I talk? Can I talk? Or can I get a 5-minute response, John Doyle? You fucking oh no.
Say like, hey, how come black people didn't really present any good inventions during the time that they were enslaved or during the time that Jim Crow was in place? Like, I don't think it's fair for you to just say, well, look, Europeans did this and that's just because they're European, LOL. That's not how this works. What it is that oftentimes Europeans held more power and they were in a privileged position where they were able to innovate at faster rates, but it doesn't mean that that is intrinsic to the...
Who cracked the enigma? What, like a gay man? Yeah. Yeah. Oh God.
The fact that they are in fact European. And again, I'm not.
Then, okay,
but you keep trying to call what I'm saying like an anecdote. That's an example of some things that's some of the things that women have contributed or gay people have contributed. Sure, but it's not just that. Again, it's that by having diversity, you avoid this idea of groupthink. You break away from groupthink, and you are able to innovate faster. Why is it?
Groupthink is good.
But okay, no, it's not. So that literally weakens the military.
Let's go point by point. No, it doesn't. Let's go.
How can you innovate with groupthink? Innovators are like, they step into the unknown. How can you innovate with groupthink? That's, oh God, I would just like to ask if like John Doyle ever actually has done like, just has any kind of like creative skills, like if he can like play music or anything like that, or if he's ever like if he's ever studied any like kind of science or developed anything. Like, I guess he makes his videos. I guess they're kind of inventive. Fucking concentration of cringe levels. God, John Doyle. I would love to talk to him. He'd be really interesting to chat to.
By point then. I want to talk about the Europe versus Africa thing.
No, we're not going to talk. This has nothing to do with the actual military thing. I know that no. I know you got to get back to your script. I understand that you have to get back to your script, okay? But hold on. We're actually talking now.
Nobody watching this actually thinks that your brain's operating at a higher level. I mean, I'm thinking.
I haven't been able to say a word, my dude. You've literally been just talking nonstop. And the non-biased mod isn't even helping at all. So this is exactly why,
I'm sorry,
by the way.
Hunter. I thought when I spoke earlier, I was being too biased. Okay, John, let's give Hunter a few minutes to say what he wants to say. Okay. I didn't want to appear too biased because, you know.
So let it be known that I said that I was more than happy to debate John Doyle, and
you did not. No, you
shut up, Andrew. So I said that I was more than happy.
This is my show.
If you've got two people, you have to be pretty fucking calm. Like, God damn it.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and mute. So I said that I was more than happy to debate John Doyle, for example, on Modern Day Debate. And, well, no, I said Modern Day Debate. And on Modern Day Debate, they reached out multiple times. John Doyle never responded. And I directly said, I'm not so sure I want to debate on your platform, Andrew, because I feel like you're going to be pretty...
never debate John on my show. And
I said because you were going to be biased, and you've now let John go on, because you've let John ramble on for the last 10 minutes and haven't let me get a single word in.
And as soon as you complained, I said, you can have the floor now, and John just agreed. So instead of complaining further, just say what you want to say.
Okay. So again, my claim is not that we need to impose diversity on the military. My claim is that by letting more people into the military of all different diverse backgrounds, you are benefiting innovation. And John, I know that you say like, that's not true, blah, 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 wah, wah. But you need to tell me then, how come we have found not one, not two, but multiple different studies that have all shown that when there is more diversity, the companies innovate at faster rates? Can you please answer why that is the case?
Yeah, I do want to address the one study that you cited in particular, the murder mystery study, which you said was proof that diversity is good. On the surface, it's like murder mystery being equivalent to warfare. Okay. But you have to look at the difference between the two. I mean, you have something like a murder mystery, right? That's like a social deduction scenario. You have a finite pool from which to draw, and then maybe you can...
Is he going to say that black detectives are better because they have criminal minds? Oh, no. Oh, God. I'm waiting for it. I think he's going to say that. I don't know why. I just have a feeling he's going to go there.
Find who did it, so to speak,
and
versus like
can help
literal
that.
Open modern warfare. Right. So what I'm familiar with in terms of the literature,
it's not all modern warfare.
I know you have low impulse control, but you just have to stop, okay? You want to go back and forth, and we have to go back and forth. So in terms of the literature that I think alludes to some of this, like corporate diversity being good, military diversity being good, oftentimes what they find is exactly that perspective thing that you're talking about, where if you have a more diverse group of people, then they're better able to assess situations critically.
Right.
I'm just going to time out Majorly Based for this segment because he can't help himself. He's going to like... I don't want to ban him, but I probably will if he like gets involved in this debate because he believes this fucking dumbass bullshit about like, if you read all the white sources of inventions, you'll see that the inventors are all white. And it's like, okay, yeah, probably, yeah, you probably would, yeah. If you don't consult a fucking like Asian encyclopedia on inventions, then yeah, you probably won't notice a bunch of the Asian inventions. If you fucking end at 1950, where all these minorities you're talking about didn't even have access to these institutions or to education, yeah, you probably won't see them inventing things. Yeah, it turns out that if you keep fucking women in the kitchen for fucking 1,000 years, then yeah, they probably won't develop vaccines or contribute to fucking NASA or contribute to the military. Yeah, that probably won't happen. Turns out if you keep fucking black people in chains for like 200 years of American history, then they're not going to fucking build shit. Yeah, probably not. Apart from like laying bricks when you tell them to. Yeah. I don't know, if you don't give them any access to fucking resources to invent shit, like, what do you expect? Shit. Let's just start from 800 BC because apparently there was no human history before that. Yeah. You know, for most of human history, like the agricultural revolution, which is, I guess, when innovation really like took off as a thing. That was when like the development of tools became like and cultivation of the land became a very essential part of human existence. Agricultural revolution was about 10 or 12,000 years ago. And for the last 10 or 12,000 years, like more than half of that period, the Middle East and Northern Africa was ahead of Europe. Like more than half of the time.
The problem, because all of the literature that's supporting that claim, you have to be careful with what that is implicating, because they're not saying that they're actually better at producing the correct outcomes for situations. Literally what they are saying is they are better at critical thinking. Why is that? That is because when you have more people from different backgrounds, they are more likely to disagree on things, which they define positively as critical thinking.
Well, yeah, that's innovative. Yeah. Yeah, that's how it... Isn't if you had a fucking anti-vax debate with these people, wouldn't they just start citing all these like black sheep scientists, like the one guy, the one epidemiologist out of like the vast majority who thinks that COVID that you get myocarditis from the vaccine but not from COVID? Like they'll happily appeal to that fucking Galileo complex when it suits them. Oh God.
I would disagree with that because, again, I want to get back to the Europe versus Africa thing, because you said that the reason Africa didn't have a competent military or innovation, so to speak, was because of European oppression.
I didn't say Africa. No, that's not what I said. I was just making a broad point about the European thing. But hold on, what you just said as far as they have... Well, hold on, wait. I just want to respond to what you said really quickly, because you didn't answer my question either. But first of all, when you have people, you just admitted it, that when you have people, you have a lot of different ideas. You have a finite pool of information to pull from, and that is a benefit of diversity. Second of all, the study that I just referenced to you was not actually the murder mystery one. I was bringing up a study which looked at different banks, and they found that innovation-focused banks increased, or innovation increased, in racial diversity, that was clearly related to an enhanced financial performance. So when you say they're not looking at the outcome, they are looking at the outcomes. The outcomes are specifically benefiting by having more diversity. And this isn't just in private firms where this has been discovered. Even the military itself has found that when women are involved in complex problem solving, they solve problems at faster rates than groups that are just made up of men, for example. So what's wrong with this? Why don't we want our military to be strong and efficient?
I would be curious to see the sample size from that one pertaining to women.
Oh, now we care about research methodology.
Because men are more rational than women, and
this is a lie.
I would imagine it's not a lie.
That's a lie. Yeah, it is.
It's absolutely not a lie.
No, it's a lie.
And
is the sample size like the only fucking thing you have to go to? Is that your only understanding of research methods? That's every conservative does this. You cite a study and they're like, "Oh, what's the sample size?" Yeah, like every time. Fuck. every single time.
There's even studies supporting that too.
No, there isn't. There's studies
anyway,
reporting the complete opposite. But I know that you kind of have to just make up stuff. But okay, go ahead. What were you saying?
Anyways, so it's like if you take a sample size of high IQ women and
Oh, hello, Sean Vids. We have a Sean raid. Wow. How about that? Welcome. Get in. Follow this channel. I also make YouTube videos and sometimes do debates, but now I'm reviewing one. And we're learning, yeah, funny story actually. We're learning about Charles Murray and his book about how white people invented all the things. Turns out his research was pretty weak. Okay. Anyway, let's go.
Compare them to average IQ men, they're going to be better at solving those problems. But if I took 100 women off the street and 100 men off the street, I mean, you would be delusional to suggest that the women would be better at solving the problems than the men would. I mean, this is just a fact.
No, not at all.
And so
it's not true.
In terms of the social production, it is true, dude. Like,
it's not true.
I don't know if you're lying. I don't know like what kind of bubble you live in to actually believe this. It reminds me of the Trump tweet. Like, is this even possible to believe?
You haven't provided any evidence. You're just saying like, obviously this is the case. I have evidence after evidence after evidence that shows that the Marine Corps, for example, found that including women resulted in just as good, if not better, cognitive performance with these challenging problems. I have information showing that when women are involved in high firm companies, they perform better the more diversity is implemented in those companies. This is a clear evidence that women are not less rational than men.
This is a question you got to ask, right? Is like, because even like these really radical conservatives, like these modern conservatives like John Doyle and shit, is like, they're not really, like conservatives are not as pro-capitalist as they used to be. At least not like rhetorically, right? They will shit on capitalism because it's, for very different reasons, because it's, I don't know, because it's degenerate and because it's Jewish, whatever the fuck. But like, if you believe the critique of capitalism, that it's just cold, soulless, profit-driven, then why the fuck would companies adopt diversity? Wouldn't companies that promote diversity fail? And ones that were like, what's the word? Shit. Homogenous? Yeah, like more homogenous ones survive. But there's a reason that every big company wants to have a diversity quota, and it's not because they care about like black people and women and shit. It's because they get out of it. They get results from it.
You're going to have some women that are less rational than men. You're also going to have some men that are less rational than women. They have done studies where they presented men and women with complex moral problems, and at the end of the day, men and women were just as rational. This is just a lie that you're saying right now.
No, it's not. There's a really good book that I don't think you'll read, but if anyone's interested, it's called The Rationality Quotient, and it's how to quantify actually thinking rationally. And they
the word is quotient, not quotient. Like he can't. Okay, whatever. But yeah. Oh, okay, whatever.
Found like I think a 0.67 or 0.68 advantage in terms of rational thinking for men. So again, I don't even think this is worth addressing. But again, what you're arguing, I'm frankly much less concerned about like all of the studies and things like that. I'm talking about like what we know about world history. What you are arguing is that all of the conquests of, for example, the Roman Empire would have been better if you would have had more women involved or more gay people involved or things like that. And this is why.
You think there weren't gay people in the Roman Empire? Holy fuck. Not only was ancient Rome, like, do these people not know what fucking maps of ancient Rome look like? You kidding me? Like, what are you talking about? Ancient Rome, what the fuck is this? Which side survived for 1,000 years longer? It wasn't this side, okay? Yeah. Look at this. Look at how homogenous the society is. Yeah. Look at how white this empire is. Oh God. Has he seen what like? I know they're not Roman, but has he seen what a Spartan looks like? Like. Oh God. Oh God. I would. I don't know that much about ancient Rome, but I would love to. I think this is where you get them. Like, you just have to ask them questions. Why is it doubling? Thanks, Resistra, for the tier 1 sub. Thank you very much. Why? Yeah, I really want to just like ask these people some questions about like what they know about ancient Rome. Nevarks with 100 bits. Thank you very much. Do you Loner, how do you answer to the crime of being white from the San fans? You got me. Don't time me out. You can handle disagreement, Loner. Don't be scared. Right. Just tell me, like, okay, there's the challenge, right? If you don't want to get banned for the rest of this stream, Majorly Based, make an argument about this topic that I haven't heard before.
I don't know why you are so like afraid of this comparison, but when you're talking about, like, you know, Africa was at a disadvantage versus Europe, well, why then was Europe able to come in and colonize Africa? If we were really at a level playing field, they have more natural resources than Europe. Why weren't they able to man the defenses? I understand that, but listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying that innovation is more likely to come from European men, as evidenced by literally 95% of all of it. You're saying no. I'm saying, okay, well, if that's not the case, why was Africa not able to defend itself from European colonization?
These are all...
Africa defended itself for quite a while, until Europeans got a hold of gunpowder from the Chinese. Okay. Oh God, I asked you to come with an argument. Oh God, fucking hell. He didn't even try. Didn't even try. Oh God. You can't make a counter argument. More than half of human history is my argument. Europe was behind North Africa, Asia, and the Middle East for more than half of human history. And also, Western cultures are more individualist. We tend to ascribe inventions to particular people rather than teams or cultures. That's why we think about Galileo when we think about astronomy, whereas in West Africa, they would think about the Dagon astronomers as a group, even though they discovered like binary star systems like hundreds of years before anyone in Europe could confirm it. Like, oh yeah, sorry. That was such a pathetic attempt. And we have Sean viewers in here, so we need like more chill vibes. We need to match the energy of like, because Sean streams are very kind and sweet. Anyway, let's go on.
All these are completely unrelated. The European...
It's just so sad because everyone who makes that argument like is incapable of inventing things. Like they're not creative people. They're not talented people. They're not fucking like... You don't like, how often do you hear like a fucking, like a top scientist or like a top fucking, maybe like, I don't know, there's like occasionally one dumbass student who comes out, but like you think anyone in the upper tiers of NASA is out there thinking that like fucking it's just white people who can do that shit, or like it's just white men who can do that shit? Why are we always hearing it from these like charlatan fucks who have nothing to show for themselves despite their abilities to fucking like memorize fucking like 4chan talking points, to just turn themselves into bots? Anyway.
Colonization had everything to do with advanced levels of technology, even different climates.
Where did that come from?
Hold on. Even different climates had an effect there. This idea of, well, Africa couldn't defend itself, therefore minorities are not good for innovation is irrelevant. This is one of the weakest arguments I've ever heard. We need...
Yeah, so why were the fucking Moors able to colonize Spain, right? Or like fucking like Italy and shit? Okay.
Combine and look at how diversity interacts with the military.
I don't know. I feel if you're... Okay. You probably don't get these arguments very often anymore. I feel like they're coming back a little bit, though. I think if you've got an argument like this, is like, even just on their own terms, like, why did the Eastern Roman Empire last 1,000 years longer than the Western? As far as I know, the great divergence between Europe and Africa only really started in the year like 14 or 1500. Before then, there was really not that much difference. Doyle would say because of Christianity. Wait, didn't the Western Roman Empire adopt Christianity? Wait, what? I don't know that actually. What did the... Wait. Western Roman Empire adopted Christianity like just before the fall. Yeah, both were Christian. Yeah. So as far as I know, I tend to break up into like 5 centuries because my brain is small. First century was Caligula, fucking degen, whatever. Second century was the 5 good emperors. Third century crisis, Christianity, and then the fall of Rome. Those are the 5 centuries. Easterns were Orthodox. Okay. Oh yeah, I've heard that one before. Yeah, I've heard that. Isn't that like a popular conservative talking point? But then it's like we're going to talk about religion, so then it's like, okay, so that means that what's in our heads, like that culture supersedes race, right? Anyway.
Military and in actual companies, because that's how the military is. You keep saying, well, what about the fighting field and this, that, and the other
agree
thing?
with that. The military is a company. Get that.
Well, no. It's not just the company, but it's a group where there is a large amount of people that are all working towards a common goal. And if you want to talk about, if you actually want to talk about world history, I mean, you can look at historical examples. Since the 1800s, for example, armies with high rates of inequality have done poorly, according to all kinds of measures. One statistical analysis focused on armies with high rates.
Yeah, wait, oh God, the British Empire. The British Empire had like the most diverse army on earth, and like we won 2 world wars off of that. We defeated the homogenous fucking like Nazi, like Aryan fucking groupthink army. Like we had fucking, I was there. The British Empire and the French Republic. Yeah, I done it. But yeah, we had like British had like Sikhs, had like 1/3 of a million Africans, bunch of fucking Jamaicans. This fucking moron, this stupid cunt. We had like over 1 million Indians fighting in the World War, in World War II, didn't we? Like, hang on. Or maybe that's across both world wars? Didn't we segregate? Mostly, yeah. 2.5 million Indian troops in the Second World War. And it was a volunteer. This wasn't 2.5 million volunteers, though, was it? There were only 200,000 in 1939. God, that escalated. How many volunteers? Oh, that's such a good example. Oh, fuck. Yeah, like who won? The most diverse army in the world or the least diverse? Yeah, what the fuck? Yeah, British Empire like owes its success to forced diversity. Yeah. Yeah, no. Oh, John. Why can't this guy just get his fucking tin hat on then and show them how it's done, you know? Like, what if the army had to choose between 10 they-them army soldiers and John Doyle? Does he think he's worth more?
Of inequality, and that they found that increased the odds by 50% that an army will suffer more casualties than it inflicts on the other side. So that's some world history for you right there. When you are discriminatory, or when you don't properly include minorities into your group, you lack positive outcomes. The
Nazis also wasn't there scientific knowledge like way far behind Britons as well at the time, because they rejected a lot of scientific literature on the basis that it was Jewish?
Weaken the military. You weaken the morale. And again, I don't know why you keep going back to this Africa thing. At the end of the day, we have multiple different studies that have shown that when women and black people and minorities are included in these firms, they do better.
Was the British Army not pretty segregated? Yeah, it was segregated, but I don't think it was completely, was it? Not as segregated as the US, but still segregated. Even the West Indies, it was volunteers. This is World War One. The nuclear weapon thing is definitely better, right? Yeah. The Red Army was ethnically, well, yeah, because the Red Army took from fucking, all over, what would you call that region? Like all the stans, fucking Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan and all the Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, yeah, Central Asia, yeah.
Better. You're just denying this. You're just denying it right now.
Okay, I have another question. Help me understand. If we know that if you have a group of like, say 50 bland vanilla white men and you throw in the black people and women, you're saying that that'll help that company do better, that military operation do better, then why then in the places in the world where we see the most black people or the most any sort of
Why can't you just take the people who are educated?
minority group, why then are they not doing as well as where we see the most groups of like white male dominated spheres?
Sure,
if that's the
I can
case.
answer that. Yeah, the answer to that is not that, oh, just because they're black, they somehow have a better idea, lol. What you're doing is stripping this of all nuance, and you're looking at this in one of the most delusionally reductionist ways imaginable. What it is not only diversity, it's how you properly implement that diversity. Obviously, just having a large group of black people is not going to necessarily lead to any better or worse outcome than having a large group of uneducated white people or something. That's not the key here. The key is that when you have a business or a company or something like the military, and they all have a common goal, implementing diversity in the proper way, mind you, leads to more innovation because you're pulling from a larger pool of information. There is more experience behind that. And then, like I've already demonstrated, that leads to higher rates of innovation. This benefits the military immensely. Like, I want to see the military get stronger. I want our country to be kept safe. And that's what the military does. And so it only makes sense to have a larger pool to gauge information from. That was your argument at the beginning of this.
Right. So again, it's like even in recent history, our military hasn't been able to do really anything quite effectively. I mean, we got embarrassed in Afghanistan. We were embarrassed in all of our campaigns in the Middle East.
Bro, you defeated the fucking Taliban in like 10 days. What are you talking about? The military, the American military is very, very effective in what it does. Because its main goal is to destroy other armies or like to just defeat other forces. They're very good at that. They do that incredibly quickly and fucking like no problem. They're not good at building civilizations, which would actually, and like nation building, which is kind of the thing that John Doyle is suggesting they would be better at. But yeah.
And now it's like I really kind of want you to just think about like what you're saying to me, which is that
like it's like our problems in Afghanistan and like Iraq and shit are not like military failures, they're political failures.
You know, if we are to increase, like what experience do you think, if you just had to guess, maybe there's not a study, if you just had to guess, what experience do you think the average black guy has in terms of dealing with high-level military operations, small unit tactics, that the average white guy just like doesn't have? Like, what is that experience that you think he could really bring to the table there?
Oh, wait, you think he's got the warrior gene, John Doyle? I don't know what.
That anybody, white, black, gay, straight, women, whatever, have like some intrinsic understanding of the military. They would be trained.
Well, then why would you need them for military diversity
because
to make it better? That's the essence of your argument.
No, I think that you're literally thinking that my argument is like, just take a random woman off the street and plop her in the military, therefore military gets better. That is not what I'm saying.
Just taking people who are qualified.
No, my argument is that my argument is that when you train, obviously to get somebody in the military, they're going to have to train to be in the military. Obviously. I'm not talking about
just 86% of women fail.
I'm not talking about just grabbing random people and then saying, oh, look, they're black, they must have better ideas. It's that, again, I've said this now 5 times, when you take a large group of people of different identities and they're all focused on a common goal, after all going through the same training, mind you, to get to where they are in the military, or going through the same process to be hired in a hypothetical firm, then you will see higher rates of innovation. I'm not saying that some black...
This is from the Daily Mail. 84% of women failed the new Army combat fitness test. So this is combat fitness. It's actually old. It's 2016. So wait, it was 85% and now it's down to half. Both men and women. Okay. Yeah, this is just physical fitness tests. Okay. Oh, less than 3% of the men. Okay. Yeah, so this is just talking about, it's like talking about Marines and shit. Okay. Interesting. Wow, we're learning so much. And this is kind of why I like engaging with crazy fucks like John Doyle, because, like, Yeah, I enjoy engaging with these people because it just kind of keeps you on your toes for these like weird arguments. It's just a good way to pick up what's going on, you know? What's going on in their heads, what to prepare for. You learn a few things on the way as well.
Person just has an intrinsic understanding of the military, but guess what? Neither do any white guys, okay? They all go through a proper training, and then once they do, when they're all put in a group where they have to have a common outcome or a common goal, we see the diversity and the different experiences and different backgrounds lead to less groupthink and more innovation. And also, one more thing I really want to quickly address. You said like, oh, we haven't really seen our military do anything recently, yada, yada, yada. I mean, you might be right. I don't know. You might be wrong. But at the end of the day, if you want to look at all of the different innovation that was contributed to our military during, say, World War II, for example, there was a multitude of benefits that were brought to our military from minority groups, whether they were black, women, or gay. So I don't think that you can necessarily just say that they must not have an understanding or they must have the understanding. It's obviously a common goal.
I mean, you say multitudes. There's so many examples. Give me one from World War II.
Sure. So Alan
Hey, there it is.
Turing, he was a crypto analyst for the British government during World War II. He was also a gay man. His code-breaking skills played a pivotal role in intercepting coded German messages. I can give you another one. The multiplex telegram was used in World War II, was invented by a black man named Granville T. Woods. He also invented the first prototype of the gas mask. If you want another one, Heidi Lamar, she's a woman. She invented the frequency hopping communication system, which now gives us Wi-Fi, GPS, and Bluetooth. These are all things that have benefited the military, that were brought to the military from diversity. So you need to tell me, why are you in favor of weakening the military just because you don't want there to be diversity? Can you explain that one to me, please?
I'm not even anti-diversity. I just fail to see the logic behind thinking that the less cohesive you make a group, the more likely it is to be able to successfully.
Well, wait, why does it have to be less cohesive? Oh god, you need to the British Empire, like the British versus the fucking Germans. Oh god, you need to. Oh god, because both times the more homogenous army lost. Fuck, the more cohesive army lost. Because they basically turned everyone who didn't fit that homogenous standard into a fucking enemy, or like I don't know. I guess it was breaking cohesion to get gays into the fucking Nazi science and shit like that.
Fulfill a task which would require it to be cohesive.
I completely agree with you. Like, but what you're advocating for is a lesser cohesion.
So we've only got a few minutes left, so I want to, John, you can respond to that and then wrap up your own points here, and then we'll go to Hunter. Yeah, unfortunately, it's a very busy studio.
Oh, we're bailing John out because he didn't know that there were examples of fucking gay and black people contributing in World War II. Nice.
Love to have you both back, of course, if we can get an agreement for that.
Yeah, I don't want to end this already, man. We were just getting into a good combo.
Unfortunately, we do have another show coming up here. So, John, why don't we go to you first? We can give you up to 5 minutes, and then Hunter, we can give you up to 5 minutes as well. Go ahead, John.
Bail him out. Get him out.
I guess I would just say
that. No, I don't know. John Doyle might as well just screen share one of his videos for these statements. Zubranovic. There. Zubranovic. I'm going to say that. Howdy, I really like the end credit music on your latest YouTube video. Is it one of your own creations? Yeah. It's like the outro for one of my songs. Zubranovic. Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I'm going to put it on Patreon probably tonight. I'll put it on Patreon tonight. I think that'll be a good old plan.
There's a reason when you're, as you would know, Andrew.
For $5 patrons, that's who gets my music. Yeah.
There's a reason that when you get into the military, they haze you and they shave your head and they basically tell you that you're disposable. I mean, the whole idea psychologically.
Yeah, that's why. That's why the American Army functions on taking people from diverse backgrounds and encouraging cohesion amongst them. Yeah. If there's a fucking problem with the black and white soldiers not being able to get along, that's because they think like you do, John Doyle.
Logically, and again, only 10% are in combat. The whole idea psychologically is to remove any sort of identity you have and tell you that like you are a unit and you're going to maybe die, and like that's fine. And so this idea that
do I have better songs than Mooncat? Nope. No. I could cope and say that they're different, but no, Mooncat. I look up to Mooncat.
like, oh, well, this guy happened to like anal sex, and that's why he was able to create this piece of technology, and that made it better. It's like, you know, don't ask, don't tell. I'm not saying you need to kick people out of the military. I'm just saying that this effort to purposefully have diversity, which is what we have, is a waste of military resources. And diversity in general, I mean, I have yet to see any real evidence. I mean, I'm not familiar with the evidence that Hunter's presented. I'd like him to email it to me. But, you know, the most comprehensive, the most comprehensive study I think we have on diversity in terms of like ethnicity is, of course, the Putnam Study from 2011. Famous social scientist from Harvard, and he found that as you increase ethnic diversity in a community.
Fuck, Mouthy Infidel spoke about this. I need this one. Because doesn't the Putnam Study say that it was like less than 1% or some shit? Like it was like the result, the effect on social cohesion was like completely negligible, wasn't it? I'm almost sure that's the case. Was that what it was? It was just that it was like a negligible difference, and all the fucking right wingers use it because they're that's all they. Yeah. Let me see where the debate is. Excuse me, Mark Collette. Where they called him a Jew. Yeah, it was funny. Where is it? If I control find. Oh, please hope one of them. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Well, if you do like reports, I'll give you one thing. If you do
I'll give you a report. Oh, fucking I think all research is Jewish. Oh, wait, there's one report that might agree with me. Or I'll give you a report. Fuck this. This guy is so fucking antithetical to everything he claims white people are.
You should read. Putnam Study reveals Putnam writes in colloquial language.
Colloquial language. Lumpy Blue with a prime sub. Thank you so much.
Firstly, with respect to Putnam's study, I mean, well, Putnam did find that the impact of diversity on social capital is statistically significant. It also happened to be negligible. So according to Putnam's study, diversity can only account for less than 1% of the observed variation in trust between regions. And so like an effect size that's like of that small implies that a country could go from like completely homogenous to having maximum possible diversity, and the level of trust would change by like not even 1% on like a 5-point scale, right? It's also worth noting that there was according to
this is the kind of people you talk to. None of this is phasing him. He doesn't care. Look at him. Like, you can't argue with a brain like that. Like, yeah, he's just ontologically he's just dead inside. Look at him.
Putnam, this negative impact of diversity on social cohesion decreases over time, and that diversity has other benefits which outweigh the initial negative.
She looks like she's learning. I don't know.
Impact on social.
She's dumb as fuck as well, though. She's really stupid.
Capital. And about 7 years after that study was published, there was a meta-analysis which looked at like 90 studies, which all tried to replicate Putnam, and the meta-analysis found that the majority of those studies failed to do so. So like this is not the best example in proving your point.
Okay, and so we had from Titus said the December 2020 report is the one Laura was talking about. 2,300 participants.
That was fucking brilliant. Well done, Mouthy.
Everything goes down. Political involvement, trust, everything goes down. The only thing that goes up when you increase diversity is the amount of people protesting and the amount of people watching TV. That's it. So I fail to see and I fail to conceptualize how, you know, the great militaries throughout the world would have been better if they simply had more people from different groups or more women or more gay people. That doesn't compute. And, you know, on paper, it sounds like it makes a lot of sense. But when we square that with what we know about how humans behave and interact with each other, I think it really doesn't make sense. And I think that's actually why he relies so heavily on papers and studies and things like that, because he doesn't seem to want to argue just from like his own logic. He wants to, again, play the Pokemon card. I've got my EX card. It's peer reviewed. And it's like, my brother in Christ, you just can't really argue from within, from what you know. So
Charizard cards going for hundreds of thousands of dollars these days. I'd like to implore you guys to watch some Pawn Stars, maybe.
Really?
Hunter, you got the floor for up to 5 minutes. Say whatever you want. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and just respond to all the really retarded things that John Doyle just said. So first and foremost, he complained last time in his video about a bunch of sexual assaults happening in the military, and he attributed that to gay people, when in fact the sexual assault rise in the military is actually a result of hazing. So oftentimes we see sexual assaults at skyrocketing rates because straight men will literally go and sexually abuse.
I think there's definitely something to be said for the fact that that like the only reason Europeans were able to invent all the things he's taking credit for was because of the Enlightenment, because they believed in a scientific method where you have to test your findings and validate it according to strict standards rather than just saying what you feel from within. So he kind of like, he stands against the entire fucking process that got those things to be invented, which is why, like, what the fuck, like, that's why it works for him though, right? Because he gets to have it both ways. He gets to argue from intuition, but then also cope about the fact that he looks like people who fought against intuition towards greater things to actually create things, like to actually use a method. So like the people who invented all the things he's bragging about did it because they didn't act on intuition. They acted on research, on evidence, and on like getting reviewed by other people, and on testing, like cause and effect, and like fucking checks and balances. Like, I don't know, if you put John Doyle like in front of the fucking Wright brothers, he would just like, what would he do with his intuition? He would fucking approach them with like 2 planks crossed over and be like, my brother in Christ, don't you see that this has wings? And my heart of hearts does tell me that things with wings fly. And then he like sits on the 2 planks and like jumps off a cliff and dies. And then they like laugh at him while he shits himself. Like, that's how that goes. And then he didn't jump from high enough to die. He just breaks every fucking bone in his body and then just like copes about the fact that at least I look like the people who invented planes. You know, at least they have the same pigmentation as me. Beta. All right.
Other men simply for the sake of hazing. This is a huge problem. You can read about it on army.com if you don't believe it. So very good argument, John. Not sure why you're in favor of more sexual assault. Second of all, Putnam Study. Very funny that you referenced that one. The Putnam Study was actually, the reason that they found that result was not because of diversity. It was rather because there were racist dipshits like you, John, who were angry that black people were there. So because there were racists, that negatively affected the cohesion, not having black people. In fact, there are way better studies which have shown that when you put white and black people together in the same community, white people tend to become less racist because they no longer perceive a threat by people that look different from them, okay? Second of all, when it comes to the military, minorities fare just as well in the military when the military emphasizes the end goal of the mission rather than getting hung up on unique individual traits. You talk about cohesion, I agree with you. A unit that is not cohesive will not function properly, but you are wrongly attributing this idea that having diversity is somehow going to harm cohesion. That's not true. Cohesion actually benefits when you accept more people because, again, you lower the perceived threat, and in turn, you then get a benefit, which is more innovation. So there have already been studies, for example, that have shown that when people are hung up on gender identity or sexual orientation, they actually destabilize their military rather than protecting their own capabilities. That harms the military at the end of the day. So again, not sure, John, why you're in favor of a weaker military. And lastly, you say, I'm just relying on studies, using them as Pokemon cards, yada, 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 this thing and the other thing, instead of feeling what's within. I'm sorry.
I didn't know this. Peer review was introduced in 1731 by the Royal Society of Edinburgh. Peer review is a Scottish method. Hey, now I'm coping. I have peer review in my blood. People actually ignore this. Like there is actually an entire like body of literature about like the Scottish Enlightenment. Yeah. That was kind of like almost in parallel with the French one, because Scotland and France were kind of had a bit of an allegiance, like at certain points. Like I think during the Scottish Wars of Independence, the French supported Wallace and Scottish Robert the Bruce and shit. Yeah. Corrupt Scottish, true. Yeah, the French and Scottish were allies at one point, yeah. And then that's where you get like, you know, like Adam Smith and fucking David Hume and yeah, all these, yeah. But yeah, that's the thing. It's like, why are you shitting on fucking peer review and all that when when did all these great British inventions, like great European inventions, come about? Was it not kind of around that period, like industrial, like 1731? Like if I put in industrial revolution dates, like was 1720, 1760 onward? Yeah, right. Who could have guessed that innovation kind of fucking spiraled out of control at an unprecedented level around the same time that peer review was being used in research? Yeah, I wonder why. I wonder why research methods and intellectual rigor like produces good examples. But results, I mean. Anyway, God.
I don't know why you seem to be operating on a very womanly kind of basis here, but in my mind, I like to put facts over feelings, okay? And right now, for someone like you, who unironically said that women are less rational, I'm not sure why you are now relying on your own fifis to come to a conclusion when that's not how the world works. If we went ahead and went by your logic, we would all be here believing the world is flat. Now, I don't know what you believe. Maybe you do believe that. But for most rational people, we recognize
of course he does.
That the world is actually round, even though we've never seen the round Earth. We don't gauge within our own logic and our own little feelings. We look at studies and data. And when you look at a multitude of studies, I'm not just pulling one fucking study out of my ass here. We have a plethora of different data points, all showing that diversity integrated into companies betters the company. Diversity integrated in the military betters the military. The reason our military is the strongest and most successful military in the entire world is largely attributable to diversity.
All right, thank you, voice. Thank you both, boys, for coming on.
Andrew,
hold on.
Give me
yes,
30 seconds.
I will give you that 30 seconds in a moment. Thank you guys for coming on. If you guys want to come back on in June, we can get you back on for a more structured debate with more particular questions for you both to respond to. Hunter Avallone's YouTube channel and Instagram and Twitter. You can find him on his own name, I believe, Avallone, and on his Discord, John Doyle, of course, Heck Off Comedy on YouTube. He's also often on Blaze TV, Slightly Offensive, and all those wonderful shows. John Doyle, you were called a racist, so you want to get 30 seconds for that?
Do I get 30 seconds to respond from there?
Sure. I'm actually the least racist person. But in our follow-up debate, in the meantime, I would be curious, and I'm sure he'd be more than happy to send me all the information which he was citing. And I can assure you that in the first part of our debate, if I'm allowed to speak uninterrupted, I will refute one by one every single study he cites because it's wrong. And I don't know the studies because I don't really keep up with that kind of stuff, but I know they're wrong. And you can laugh, don't believe me, but just at least remember that I said it because that's what will happen. I'll prove to you that they're all incorrect. In terms of the Putnam Study rebuttal, he pronounced the name wrong of the author, but claims to know like the ins and outs of it. It wasn't actually racist white people because they didn't trust each other either. If you read the study, you would know that trust as a general, as an aggregate.
What? Okay, what? The black people didn't trust the racist white people. I wonder why. What? Yeah. Got him.
Went down. So if that what you're saying was the case, measuring trust is just like that, it'd be like, oh, white people mad at black people, but white people didn't trust each other anyways. Also, in terms of diversity, I don't want to kick anybody out. They're lowering the bar.
Based mod. Look at the mod doing his job.
To allow these people into the military. That's my problem.
Hunter, 30 seconds, really tight.
So first and foremost, again, we're seeing John relying heavily on his fifis. I don't know if maybe he's still a snowflake in need of a safe space here, but again,
you gotta leave 2016.
No, I'm staying in 2016 because they seem to be bothering you, and I think that's very funny. So again, I rely on the data. John relies on his feelings, as demonstrated by him saying he's never read the studies, but I'm sure they're all just wrong, LOL. Second of all, I don't care if I pronounced the author's name incorrectly. The reason the trust was lower was because there was a higher rate of racism. Racists are scared of black people, and if they act racist, that lowers the trust that black people have in the general community as well. This is why we have seen that accepting all identities benefits cohesion when it's implemented properly.
Okay, back to me. Thank you both. Hunter, you going to come back for a debate with John Doyle?
Yeah, maybe. But I never got an opening statement either, so it's a little sad.
You'll get a big opening statement next time. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you both for coming on. I appreciate you both. It's hard to get people to come together and talk like this. Thank you guys.
Hell yeah. See you.
That was really good from Hunter. That was a good performance.
I have a bunch of fucking copers in my
Copers.
in my chat. All right.
Copious levels
All right,
of
John
copium.
Doyle Simps. I see you all, okay? Don't
John
forget
Boyle.
to hit that subscribe.
Don Joyle. I feel bad because Majorly Based has like DM'd me about 20 times, plus a few in the Discord, and I just worry that it's getting too fucking parasocial.